from Gainesville as we get you ready for the 3-seed Florida Gators taking on the unseeded Georgia Bulldogs. As we take a look at the Georgia starting lineup brought to you by Capital One, and we've got to highlight the speed at the top of the order with Dallas Goodnight.
You know me, I'm not going to ever miss a chance to flex on some speed. It never sleeps. Both of these lineups, and Dallas Goodnight and Kendra Falby for Florida, over 30 stolen bases on the year.
Dallas Goodnight won against this Florida Gator team. You think about Keegan Rothrock last weekend in that regional round. They had 3 run rule victories. Rothrock picking up 2 wins over the course of those 3 days, and we're underway, and Rothrock throws it in for ball 1. The Peach State native and Dallas Goodnight, second straight season as a second-team All-SEC selection. You spoke of her speed and how it has been a game changer all season long, tied for 3rd most in stolen bases in the Southeastern Conference this season. She fouls it back now, 1-2.
This is who Georgia's going to face in the circle, a very seasoned arm in her sophomore year, a high spin rate. I mean, you're already seeing that floating rise ball. She can throw it on 2 levels. Has been working for that 3rd location of the rise. That was the goal in this past offseason for Keegan Rothrock, and she was honest with us. I think that she was on pace to nail that 3rd location with the rise. Had a injury that she suffered and was working through middle of this year, was out the majority of March, and maybe delayed a little bit of that location goal in that specific pitch.
3 straight foul balls now from Goodnight, and Rothrock is a player that Tim Walton described as someone who just gets better game after game. Again, pitched the majority of the innings in the 2024 Women's College World Series run. And we may see a good bit of her throughout this weekend. And Tim Walton, 1,000+ career wins at his time in Florida, and seeking his 13th Women's College World Series appearance. Been there 3 of the last 4 seasons. And that one clips the elbow. They say no. She's got to come back to the plate. You've got to be able to get out of the way. Did she hang her elbow out there?
To me, that first look, you can clearly see the upper body leaning over into the strike zone. Tony Baldwin, head coach for Georgia, came out of the dugout wanting to have a word there with home plate umpire Brian Crochet. I think that's the right call.
And gets the strikeout. Rothrock retires the first batter she faces, and Dallas Goodnight.
You got to celebrate this turnaround, right? You get that call. Rothrock able to go at Dallas Goodnight. One more pitch, takes it upstairs. We've talked about the rise ball with Rothrock. That's what she's known for. And gets Dallas Goodnight with the swing through.
Here's Lindy Ray Davis, graduate student, University of Georgia, grew up always wanting to don the black and red, has had that wonderful opportunity to do so. And came up with clutch moments in that Durham Regional last weekend as the Bulldogs were able to move through and knock off a national seed at number 14, Duke, to advance here to the Supers.
We are for sure in the era of the transfer portal. A lot of movement happening within our sport, but Lindy Ray Davis, an exception to that, was a recruit prior to the NCAA rule changing, committed to Georgia in 8th grade.
And caught looking. So one swinging and one looking, and Keegan Rothrock already off to a fantastic start.
You couldn't script a better start for this sophomore. That's the goal as a pitcher, right? You're wanting to establish and settle into that strike zone early, and Rothrock has been shaving the corners, has elevated the rise ball beautifully, and taking control here early against Georgia.
Tyler Ellison, the second baseman outside of Atlanta's where she grew up. 289 batting average on the season, commits there. Now 1 ball and 1 strike. This Georgia team making their 3rd straight super regional appearance for the last 5 years. And for many coming into this tournament, they were unsure about what type of Georgia team would show up, but you know that the Dogs know how to rise to the occasion. Tony Baldwin has been a part of a lot of the success they've seen over the years, spent 9 seasons under Lou Harris-Champer, and then took over back in 2021.
We spoke of the history, right, of this team specifically on this stage in Gainesville for a super regional win.
And Ellison drives this one into the outfield. Taylor Shoemaker is there, and a 1, 2, 3 innings. So on the other side, we'll get a chance to see this Gator offense go to work. 3rd time these two programs are meeting in the super regional round, 3 up, 3 down in the top half of the inning, as the Gators coming up to bat. In the circle for the Georgia Bulldogs is Randy Rolling. The sophomore was literally that, rolling through the regional round with a pair of complete game wins last weekend in Durham.
Yeah, between her and Lily Backus carrying the majority of the innings this season. 100 Ks on the year. Again, looking at those walk numbers, that's where this pitching staff is going to have to clean it up here in Gainesville.
Well, taking a look at the Florida Gators starting lineup brought to you by Capital One. Yes, they can draw a lot of walks, but this young woman draws a lot of attention in Kendra Falby.
Are we talking speed again?
Yeah.
How can you not?
This is a recurring theme.
It's at the top of the order, both of these squads. It's a formula that works. Not only can she hit for power, for average, but she's got 35 stolen bases, 2nd in the SEC.
4th straight year that Falby is leading the team in hits. The senior outside of the Tampa area is ready to take the first pitch from Rolling, and she sees it go in for strike 1. Rolling, who we mentioned, was pivotal in that Game 7 last weekend.
We'll take a look at that infield, pinched in to try and play against this speed.
And this one popped up. Is it in playing position? It's off the net, so Falby will get another crack at it.
And this is what makes defending Kendra Falby so hard. 2 home runs on the year, 8 doubles, 2 triples, but on the dirt, you have to pinch in. You have to play her tight to give yourself a chance for an out at first base. Just so much speed.
And to that point, Aaron, too, I mean, this is what's made Kendra Falby so dangerous, is the fact that, yes, she came in as a slapper, but we watched that evolution, her ability to be able to swing away, to your point, a couple of home runs, but also doing an even better job protecting the plate here on 1-2. And Pincher get over to second base and lines out, 1 away. The defense in perfect position there as Tyler Ellison was ready to receive that one off the bat of Falby.
Well, if you're curious why Lily Backus isn't in the circle, the senior for this staff, and why they went with Randy Rolling, I think for me it comes down to the statistics. This is a lefty arm in the circle. Florida has statistically struggled against left-handed pitching all year. Looking at their splits, this is a Gator team that's hit .353 against right-handed arms and only .277 coming out of the left side of the body.
The freshman Taylor Shoemaker, who you mentioned is having a phenomenal freshman campaign. Doesn't matter what side of that the pitcher is coming from, she's been able to hit the ball exceptionally well. 387 on the season, and leading the team in plenty of offensive categories, including home runs with 21 on the season, and RBI, extra base hits in just her first year in Gainesville. Taking that one inside.
And also has the speed. I mean, she's right behind Kendra Falby, 18 stolen bases on the year. And if she's not hitting the ball out of the ballpark, she's wreaking havoc on the base paths.
And that's ball 4. So the 288th walk awarded to a Florida Gator batter this season. And you mentioned just how important that category right there was going to be for Georgia pitching.
Well, that's the 90th walk of the year for Rolling. Look, I get it. When you're facing specifically a team like Florida, 103 home runs on the year, if I'm going to miss, I don't want to miss over the part of the strike zone. I want to miss wide.
And this one hitting Jocelyn Erickson. So 3 passes, to your point, Aaron.
And that's inevitable, right? This team, this Florida team, it's a matter of time before the ball leaves the yard. Limit the damage if you're Georgia. Let's not give up free bags. Let's not give up ducks on the pond for a bat like Jocelyn Erickson. Last year, the SEC Player of the Year, now in her junior season, has stepped into an even bolder role in the meat of this order. To me, one of the most feared bats in this lineup now, 2 on and no outs.
And let's remind folks that there were 3 run rule victories for Florida last weekend, so things were really clicking. They shut out Mercer 8-0 twice, and one big over Florida Atlantic as well. And now you've got a senior, a veteran, and a 2-time first-team All-SEC hitter in Reagan Walsh now at the plate. And Rolling still trying to figure out Brian Crochet's strike zone behind the plate. Coming in the last 10 games, Reagan Walsh is hitting .467 with 10 RBI. She's got a perfect opportunity here with Falby in scoring position and Jocelyn Erickson standing at first. We're going to see Chelsea Wilkinson trot out of the dugout along with JT D'Amico to talk to the defense. Wilkinson, who was an All-American pitcher at Georgia, led the Dogs to that 2016 Women's College World Series run.
You started to talk about regional numbers, Tiffany. I think that this really puts it in perspective for Florida. Last weekend, a run rule, all 3 games, they outscored their opponents 30-6. Again, it's just a matter of time before this team puts runs up on the board. So how do you put yourself in a situation for the floodgates not to open? It's not giving up the free bases. You just have to limit the free passes in the circle.
Well, after that conversation, let's see what Rolling comes back with. She's thrown 7 straight balls. And now make it 8. A 3-0 count with another hot hitter in Mia Williams, who's on deck. That one in there for a strike as Walsh was taken all the way.
Not to be confused with Mua Williams,
right,
on the other side of this ball field. How many times are we going to get that mixed up?
Oh, yeah, I see it. Mua Williams sitting at third base for the Bulldogs.
Well, Reagan Walsh, senior year for this bat. Man, been just an incredible journey to watch her strengthen her skill set here for the Gators. And described by head coach Walton, one of the best hitters on this team against ranked opponents.
And this one sits sailing over the left field wall and beyond. On the roof, it's gone. ball. Great power, just keeps getting better. 14th home run of the season for Walsh. It's 3-0 Gators.
Again, described by Coach Walton, this is the bat that rises to the occasion when the game's on the line, when the pressure is heightened, and when they are playing their toughest opponents. It's a super regional landscape here in your home turf. And to get the scoring started, 3-run shot.
And that's a way to start things off for the Gators, who average about 7.7 runs per game, one of the top producing offenses in the country. Now Mia Williams, the sophomore out of Windermere, Florida, just outside of Orlando. And a bat that Tim Walton says continues to come along. You saw those 19 home runs highlighted, second on the team, as 6 different players for the Gators have 10 home runs or more. That's most of any team in the country.
You know, last year, a conversation that Mia Williams and Tim Walton had was that she wanted to be more consistent in her sophomore year. Some of the mechanical changes that she made in the offseason, staying and keeping the barrel a little bit more inside the ball to stay through contact longer. Barrel control, staying on a pitch through the zone. Well, a 343 year. Getting the third now free bag for the Gators in the first inning. I'd say that she is rising to the occasion of that challenge.
Indeed, a second team All-SEC selection. And just the conversation in the dugout, the passing on of information. And we had a chance to talk with several of the Gators players yesterday. This was an all-business kind of team, right? And they wanted to quickly erase what happened to them in the second round of the SEC tournament, falling to Ole Miss. Tim Walton said, you know what? We've got to do even more. We've got to make practice already tough and hard. We've got to do that little bit extra to be ready for these moments. They responded exceptionally well in the regional round and already coming out here strong for Supers.
This is a squad that didn't let up. I mean, all week in preparing, they took Monday off after 3 run rule victories in regionals. Then they hit the ground running on Tuesday, had weights, had a regular practice, a lot of time in the cages. Wednesday, a full day of live at-bats, right? They hit their arms.
Ava Brown sends this one into right field. Sarah Gordon is there. And now 2 outs in the inning.
It's just interesting to hear how different coaches approach this week, whether they want to pull back the reins a little bit, allow their teams to recover the bodies, finish up school. A lot of these young women are finishing finals, preparing to either graduate or start another year of their career. But not Tim Walton. Just a well-oiled machine here. He went through the entire week with us that this is a formula that has worked for him. Why change it now?
Semi-finalist in the Women's College World Series a season ago, and then you've got a player like Corby Otis who is breathing a sigh of relief, graduated cum laude with a biology degree this month, SEC Scholar Athlete of the Year. And she's working with a 2-0 count. Rolling, readies for the pitch. High for ball 3. Otis, the senior out of Littleton, Colorado. First team All-American selection a season ago. And already there was some activity in the Georgia bullpen with Rachel Gibson getting ready. We've seen 4 3-ball counts so far from Randy Rolling. You mentioned the free passes. There is another third walk of the inning. given up by Randy Rowland.
Plus the hit by pitch. I mean, 4 free passes right now. We're just in the first. No matter who you're facing, that many free passes is going to come back to haunt you, specifically a team that has 103 home runs on the year. I mean, that's just a matter of time.
Kinley Cahalan in her first season in a Gator uniform, coming over from Alabama. It's 2 for 5 in the regional round, and Cahalan, who is settled in comfortably with this Gator group, who's got a nice mixture of both senior and veteran leadership, along with some impactful freshmen, but she has been an impactful newcomer for this group.
You get a sense of the joy for Kinley Cahalan, stepping in first year, coming over from Alabama, now a junior here at Florida. And it took one conversation between her and Tim Walton to know that this was going to be a fit. Wanted to be pushed, wanted to be challenged, and wanted to be at a school that was going to go after a national championship that year, or this year, and this was it. She found it.
On the 2-2 pitch, watches it outside. Now the count draws full.
Off-speed curve for Rolling Tiffany. It just hasn't found the zone. And that's a pitch I think that has to be on for Randy Rolling to be her best.
Already 35 pitches in the inning, 36 right there, but it strikes out Cahalan. So that ends the inning, but not before the Florida Gators, more specifically Reagan Walsh, goes to work, a 3-run bomb to put the Gators on top after one. Ended the Gators' bid at a 3-peat, and that was a 2-out, 2-run homer to walk it off in the bottom of the 7th. And so when we talked about the interconnectivity of these two programs, well, certainly Georgia has had the upper hand here in Gainesville in Supers.
It was funny when we had a chance to talk with Dallas Goodnight, Goodwin, the Lee Backus coming into this weekend. We asked them about preparation, if they gave any credence at all to the history between these two teams. And of course, we got that textbook answer of, we just focus on us. Little did we know, there was a lot of film watching of that walk-off per Tony Baldwin. At times, important to him to remind this group that, hey, we've done it before, we're gonna do it again.
And he said, there's no sweat off of our backs, right? Like, they came into 2016 and understanding what was at stake for Florida, that pressure carried over to 2021 after the Gators had another great season. Mary Wilson, Vance shut things down, a couple of shutout victories here. And so they have full belief that they can do it again and have really drowned out the outside noise regarding what people are saying about this 2025 version of the Georgia Bulldogs. Can they do it? History says yes, and the belief of these players co-signs that.
This is the 3rd straight Super for Georgia, 14th all-time. They've been to the Women's College World Series 5 separate times. Well, they faced Florida 6 times in that run.
And Jaden Goodwin goes down swinging. The Women's College World Series returns to Oklahoma City. Speaking of that, Aaron Miller, the action begins Thursday, May 29th at noon Eastern, live on ESPN. For more information on the 2025 Women's College World Series, go to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 90 NCAA championships. When we think about Clemson, Texas Tech, night of first, their first super regional win in program history, on the brink of making it to OKC. Nigeri Kennedy, that complete game victory over Florida State. 2 hit the Seminoles, actually helped her cause with a solo shot as well.
The $1 million arm.
And you had Clemson after about an hour and a half weather delay in Austin.
That lightning, man, it'll get you.
Every time. It was like 2 pitches in. I felt bad for our Pam Ward and Judy Dalton Hill.
It just gotten underway. That was over an hour and a half delay, I believe, before they got to resume. I admittedly, I crashed out on my pillow before that game was over.
We can't do that today because it's like this is the first of like 8 games. It's like
we got a full day of softball, folks. Full day.
1-2 count to the junior Sarah Gordon. And the right fielder stays alive for the Bulldogs, so she got a piece of that one.
How about Rothrock settling in now? 4 batters faced, 3 strikeouts. The rise ball has been money. I mean, this is an arm that's faced a lot of adversity this year. Tim Walton saying she really looked the best he's ever seen in January and early February when this season started. Again, incurred that injury that took her out for at least 3 weeks.
And we speak of more softball. This is what you will see coming up next. You've got 9 seed UCLA taking on South Carolina. Again, game 2 between Texas Tech and Florida State down in Tallahassee, or rather up in Tallahassee from where we're located, about 2 hours plus in the capital city of Florida. Emily Digby now down 0-2, and you're seeing Rothrock to that point, Aaron, just work quickly and work ahead in counts.
Again, the rise ball just being the bread and butter of this arm. Has looked so in control of that location. Tim Walton mentioning that in February, he saw her nail that 3 location, the 3 different spots in that rise ball. She wanted to add that 3rd location over off season to climb the ladder better with that high spin rate rise ball.
And that one, Nix Digby, a piece of her Evo shield even pops off after that one. So after retiring the first 5 batters, you see Digby with a free pass after being hit by the pitch.
A reminder, we saw a hit by pitch against Dallas Goodnight last inning, but was called back to home plate for leaning into the strike zone. Well, not the case here against Emily Digby. I mean, Digby had a heck of a regional weekend, batted .636 last weekend. 7 hits and 11 at-bats, Tiff. That was good as it gets.
She was unbelievable at the plate. Now she's on with 2 outs, and Marissa Miller, the catcher, up at the plate. The junior out of Sewanee, Georgia. Better than 300 batting average on the season. Has really upped her production after just 2 hits and 22 at-bats last season. She has been a mainstay starter in the lineup and behind the dish. Underscoring that point with Rothrock. 34 pitches, 26 of them for strikes, ahead 0-2. And foul back by Miller.
Looking at all the games on the docket today, that OU Bama one is a little nostalgic for me. I played in one of those super regionals in Tuscaloosa. This one's in Norman this year.
And another strikeout, and Keegan Rothrock is dealing, baby.
Well, the rise ball's been money, but this last strikeout against Marissa Miller comes right at the knees, baby, making the ball move.
Well, what a start to the NCAA tournament last week, and the #1 overall seed, Texas A&M, eliminated by Liberty, one of 4 unseeded teams to reach the super regional round. We're seeing obviously one of them here in Georgia. How about Texas Tech and Liberty making their first ever super regional appearances? And we're seeing 2 of the teams that round out the 9 from the SEC that have advanced on to this weekend. You think about the power of the SEC. You've got Oklahoma, who joined along with Texas last year. They're vying for a 5-peat. Is that a such thing as a 5-peat?
It doesn't even sound real.
No.
But it is.
We were talking about that Alabama series. Audrey Vandegrift, one of those top 3 NCAA National Freshman of the Year finalists. A ton of speed there as well, leading the way with 50 stolen bases.
Well, the OU-Bama history, Tiffany, battling it out for the 2012 national title. That was the old rain dance storyline.
Oh, yeah.
We've heard that.
Our very own Caleb Bro told me many a story about that. And we've got, obviously, the video evidence as well.
I can remember playing in 2015 in Tuscaloosa, the OU-Bama Super. Marissa Runyon, a grand slam. They called her Home Runyon.
I love the nicknames
so
that
good.
come about. Yeah.
I mean, there's just so much history between those two teams.
A natural fit there, as well as Riley Holtorf has been a natural fit here for the Gators, the shortstop who came over this season. And the former Washington Husky fouls that one off. 2-2.
This is the Washington transfer. Had a heck of a junior year for the Huskies. 11 home runs, 51 hits, now settling in nicely in her senior season for Florida. Been so good, I think, too, in the 9-hole. Just the power, the pop at the bottom of this order. Been a good, almost a secondary leadoff when you see it here in the second inning.
And Tim Walton has said, hey, look, we've got a way to figure out how we can provide the most productivity out of our lineup, and it worked last weekend exceptionally well. And they were right near that average with the way the computer generates kind of that lineup at close to 8 runs a game, and basically just made a little swap of 2 and 3. And it's worked out well in the favor. Full count here. The payoff on the way, and it's Rolling who gets the strikeout. So she ended the inning with a strikeout, gets another here to start this inning. Well, here's this week's Sunday Night Baseball matchup, the series finale between Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts. The Dodgers taking on Pete Alonso, Juan Soto and company with the Mets. 7 Eastern on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Radio. Our coverage begins at 6 Eastern with Baseball Tonight Sunday Night Countdown. Back to the top of the order with Kendra Falby, who lined out to second her first time up. Falby flares this one into foul territory down the right field line.
This has always been an athlete that's led a lot by example, but specifically in this senior season has stepped up in some ways that have really pulled her out of her shell. I mean, really taken the reins from players like Amanda Lorenz, Skylar Wallace, just a vocal leader, I think, this season more than in years past.
Well out in front of that one now, 1-2, but I love that point because you think about a player like Skylar Wallace, who was such an emotional leader as well as one on the field, and how do you replace that? Well, Kendra Falby, Reagan Walsh, Jocelyn Erickson have all provided great leadership for this Gator group.
You know, that swing right there, I think, is something that sticks out to me about Kendra Falby, specifically in her senior year. She has the ability to stand in and swing away, and per Tim Walton last year was the best mechanics he's seen out of her swing, the full cut. This year, challenging her to elevate that game of chopping and pounding the ball into the ground, getting the high bounce and using that speed.
And this one lined out again, this time to Digby. So A line out to second, and now a line out to short, and Falby is retired.
Well, if there was one area that Georgia was willing to admit to us in scouting this Florida team that they had to do well, it was keeping Kendra Falby off the base paths. They've done it twice.
And the freshman phenom, Taylor Shoemaker, back up at the plate. Got aboard thanks to a walk last inning, and then scored her team high 71st run on that 3-run blast from Reagan Walsh.
This was a young bat that Tim Walton saw play 7th, 8th grade, was actually watching an older team play and happened to come across this talent at the plate. Every time he saw her at the ballpark, it was a home run to all areas of the field, left, center, right. Said he just could not stop hearing and seeing the name of Taylor Shoemaker.
Out of Fullerton, California. And that state literally is a gold mine of softball talent, as Tim Walton, originally from Cerritos, California. Three balls, one strike to Shoemaker. The pitch from Rolling. Inside for ball 4. 2-out walk awarded to Shoemaker, and that brings up Jocelyn Erickson. We talked about this at the beginning of the broadcast, and the number of walks and free passes allowed by Georgia. This is a group who has always battled. I mean, they didn't have an opportunity to take an SEC series this season, and yet they've found ways to remain in ball games and be very competitive. They got great pitching efforts last weekend from Rolling and the other lefty, Backus, in the circle to help them punch their ticket to this super regional round. But that's something that you know that they're charting, and Tony Baldwin comes out and talks just for a second. What does he remind the group of?
Well, too, I think, again, slowing the game down right now. This is a Florida team that understands how to work momentum, feed momentum, generate momentum. I think this specific situation could get out of hand even with 2 outs on the board against a bat like Jocelyn Erickson. Honestly, any bat in this lineup, they can take a single free pass and run with it, and I think that moment is just to have a breath. Let's slow the game down. Let's kill any momentum that's generating.
Last year's National Player of the Year, the junior out of Phoenix, Arizona, sees that in. Now, no balls and 2 strikes.
That's that off-speed curve, again, that Rolling has struggled to spot. Gets the call there with an 0-1 count. You have to change speeds against Florida to be competitive.
And the lefty v lefty matchup in favor of Rolling in the circle, so a runner left on board. It's still 3-0 Gators. And then the 6th seed, Texas, with their backs against the wall as they're playing for their postseason lives. The Gators faced off against Texas during the regular season, and it was the Longhorns who came out with a series win there. Emma Castori, the 8-hole hitter, up to the plate now. The sophomore who has done a really nice job over the last month or so, according to our coach, Tony Baldwin, just in all facets of the game. And when you think about a player who was primarily used as a pinch runner last year, has taken advantage of her opportunities this season. And her 18th start of the season. Again, someone who's just kind of filled the role nicely and adjusted well. She's working with 3 balls and no strikes in the count. that one called for a strike.
And still searching for her first hit in postseason. Was 0 for 7 last weekend at regionals.
Swing and a miss, and now 3 balls and 2 strikes. Rothrock already with 4 strikeouts in the early part of this one. And it's Castori who flies out to right, 1 down. We'll have game 2 of the Western Conference Finals for you tonight on ESPN and ESPN Plus. The Stars host Connor McDavid and the Oilers at 8 Eastern, with Dallas leading the series 1-0 after their 3rd period comeback win Wednesday night. Folks, the puck drops with the point at 7:30, and then action to follow. Mua Williams, the 3rd baseman, who had 3 RBI in her NCAA tournament debut against Coastal Carolina. And then closed out the weekend in Durham with a home run Sunday against the Blue Devils. A lot of power in that bat. And the coaches love her upside. She's got to protect here. 0-2. That's low for ball 1.
The only freshman in the starting 9 for Georgia. 5 home runs on the year for Mua Williams.
And the grounder over to Mia Williams. And Mua is retired. Just got to be slow and intentional about saying
That
it,
1 letter difference.
Yes. Gators always boasting a very solid defense to support their pitchers in the circle. Rothrock back to the top of the order with Dallas Goodnight.
I mean, that ball foul, but you get a sense of that speed and the urgency that you have to play with defensively to face some legs like Goodnight. Coming into this program, Dallas Goodnight was clocked at 18-mile-an-hour top speed. Well, just last week ran her best time yet at 21 miles an hour.
Wow.
Woof.
Wheels for days.
I mean, speaking of that, you know, Tony Baldwin saying that this team, you always hear a weight coach say, we're going to get stronger throughout the season, and that not necessarily being the case, having to prioritize recovery. And well, this team has gotten stronger, hitting some of their best power and speed numbers just last week. Recovery numbers are at an all-time high. Strength numbers, PRs in the weight room, the speed, their sprint numbers. I mean, this team is peaking physically at the best time.
What I think, too, is incredible. I mean, you go back to the start of the year, this group had one of their best starts in program history, 14-0, and obviously the ringer that is the SEC schedule. They get through that, make it to the regional round, upset number 14, Duke, to advance on. And the belief that we heard from Tony Baldwin, the conversations that we had with Dallas Goodnights and her teammates, and how this group has grown together and learned from those moments throughout the season in times where maybe others may have faltered. Instead, they got stronger.
Okay, so this team has learned, and they've learned quickly. They never waved the white flag.
Kolthoff making the play at shortstop, and a 1-2-3 inning. Gators back up to bat.
This is the party that every player wants to be at. here at Oklahoma City, I get pretty excited.
A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and something that each girl dreams of growing up.
And who are going to be the 8 teams on the list to get inside Devon Park? Well, I'll tell you this, the Florida Gators, the last to win it out of the SEC. They were back-to-back champions in 2014 and 2015. Aaron Miller, who won a couple of national titles there. Tiffany Green here with you. Tim Walton itching to get back. They've been there 3 of the last 4 seasons. And it's been a bit of a second home for Walton and these Gators over his 20-year tenure.
And just last season, 2024 year for the Gators, their 12th appearance at the Women's College World Series, their 6th SEC Tournament Championship. And they rolled up a 54-win season last year.
Just pedestrian numbers right there.
Oh, I mean, another day's work.
Right. We came in, talked to you about this powerful Florida offense. Here are her career ranks for Reagan Walsh and what she's done in a Florida uniform throughout each of her seasons. It's been just so impressive, and obviously she caught everybody's attention back in the first inning with that 3-run home run to put up the only runs of the game.
To me, the RBI numbers too really paint that picture of her being able to rise to the occasion in big moments. When there are runners on, when the game is on the line, able to cash it in.
And Walsh, after that home run in the first inning, retired here to start off bottom 3. Of course, we'll have an opportunity to hear from the Florida head man, Tim Walton, for the top of the 4th inning. And Walton, the success, the Hall of Famer, NFC Hall of Fame inductee last year. Nia Williams, first pitch swinging, flies out to center field, quickly 2 down. But the consistency of his programs and the standard that he's set ever since he touched foot here in Gainesville.
The competitive offense always sticks out to me about Florida. This is a program that's known for their ability to produce at the plate in many different ways. Long ball speed, short game, gap-to-gap power. I mean, it's hard to find a hole in this offense.
I think about a player like Lauren Hager, who reminds me a lot of Ava Brown, and the fact that they're tremendous 2-way players. Hager going into the Gator Hall of Fame this year.
Ava Brown, one of the hottest bats in the last 12 games for Florida, has just been on fire in the 6-hole for Florida.
Great way to illustrate that, Aaron. 6 home runs in the last 10 games.
That'll do.
Yeah. Two 2-1 count to Brown. Now 3-1.
Well, the phrase that Florida has rallied around all season long has been the term all for June. Do it all for June. The month of June, that is, for those of you maybe scratching your head. Women's College World Series will start next week, and they will crown a champion the first week of June.
Yeah, the mayhem spills on over into June. Nips a piece of that one, stays alive, does Brown. Smiles back there from Marissa Rolling as Marissa Miller and Rolling as they're having a quick conversation, that battery for the Bulldogs.
And speaking of June, that was the answer of Tim Walton. Asked him about kind of his intuition of this team. I think this is a head coach, in my opinion, that really has a good intuition for this game. And he said, look, when we go, we go. If we punch our ticket to the Women's College World Series, we're liable to take this thing all the way. That's what my gut is telling me.
Giving chase both Miller and Williams. And Brown stays alive. Good at bat here from Ava Brown.
And Miller behind the plate giving chase. A reminder, we got a high sky. Not a single cloud in the sky. It is sunny. We will reach above 95 degrees today. I mean, that is a tough play to make, especially with a mask on.
This one driven opposite field, but in foul territory. 8 pitches already, and this at bat with Ava Brown. And the sky that you speak of, so beautiful. We had a 11 a.m. start just past the noon hour. Aaron Miller, Tiffany Green here with you. The first game of the weekend from Gainesville between the 3-seed Florida Gators and the Georgia Bulldogs. Third time meeting in the super regional round between these two programs. And Brown, this one deep into the hole at shortstop. Not going to be able to make a play in time. So the 2-out base hit for Ava Brown, and the Gators keep the inning going.
Outside of that home run back in the first from Reagan Walsh, this is the first swing that gets another Gator on. Ava Brown sending this one deep past Emily Digby at shortstop, and it is deep enough to find her way at first base.
Corby Otis now standing in. That's an excellent point, because we saw Rowling give up a few walks, but prior to that base hit from Ava Brown, she had retired 10 batters since giving up that 3-run shot to Walsh.
Five free passes that Rowling has given up, 2 of those coming around to score.
Well, Sarah Gordon and Corby Otis were teammates at Louisville. Both were first-team All-ACC selections, and both have blossomed in their respective programs. Corby Otis sees that one in for strike 2.
A lot of transfer talent specifically on this roster for Florida. We had some awesome discussions with Tim Walton about his approach in the transfer portal, the discussion that he has with athletes that make their way to Florida.
The chopper right in front of the plate. Hard play to make. Rowling falls, and Corby Otis is safe. Back-to-back base hits for the Gators. And now this Florida group threatening again, and Tony Baldwin back out of the dugout after this play.
This is a swinging bunt, effectively. I mean, Corby Otis swinging so hard, puts top spin on this ball, and is just tough luck for Rowling, having to field her position as a lefty, would have to ground that ball and turn 180 to make a play at first base. And with the speed and the aggressiveness of Corby Otis, 6 stolen bases, 6 for 6 at that on the year. A lot of speed with this Florida team. Applies some pressure defensively. I don't think there's going to be a change in the circle. Again, just Tony Baldwin taking a moment to slow down momentum. Keep in mind, these 2 head coaches are best friends. A lot of years of experience between these 2 head ball coaches. back from 2019. We're at the women's national team together. They know the buttons to push for each other.
So Baldwin making the decision to stay with Rolling here. And obviously these two coaches, as you mentioned, know each other very well. The tendencies of each, good buds. They haven't talked this weekend though.
Well, and prior to this weekend, they pretty much talk weekly. They both geek out on practices. They have very similar philosophies in the game. And that's, again, another reason why these two programs, among the history of this matchup, is so interesting to me. I mean, these are two head coaches that literally were roomies on the road, overseas, have spent a lot of time together, have developed a friendship even outside of the sport. We got a lot of good stories that we will likely get into, if not today, definitely tomorrow, from Tony Baldwin.
A ton of fun to hear both of them talk. They were even on the field together coaching, and they didn't even know it.
Wow. Back in '98, during their early baseball coaching years. Yeah.
The 1-2 to Cahalan. And the strikeout there for Rolling, having great confidence in the sophomore lefty, and Randy Rolling gets out of the jam, gave up 2 hits, but 2 left on base, and this strikeout to close out the Gators here in the 3rd. Great day for softball here in Gainesville. The 3rd seed Florida Gators on top 3-0 as we welcome you back. And joining us now, Gator head coach Tim Walton. And coach, just in terms of what you have liked and have seen out of Keegan Rothrock in the circle and her efficiency.
Yeah, really efficient. You know, being able to keep the leadoff batters off base, you know, is a key. Just got to do it. Got to keep doing that job, keeping their momentum in our dugout.
Coach, it's been impressive just over the years to see how Reagan Walsh elevates in big moments. What is the magic for her to rise to those occasions? Yeah,
I mean, she's doing what we recruited her to do. She came from a program that developed big hitters in big games, and she's done that her whole career. You know, one of our highest batting averages against top 25 opponents this season. And, you know, as the competition got, you know, a little steeper through our league play, she got better and better and better and almost hit, you know, 400 for a right-handed power hitter. Is pretty good in our league.
Thanks so much, Coach. We appreciate the time.
Thank you, guys. Go Gators.
He's so right. I mean, that's a bat that has continued to elevate her game in more ways than one. Figuratively and literally digs her heels into the batter's box when the game is on the line.
And I know a lot of people around the country may be tired of hearing this sentiment. There were 32 teams last Sunday. 14 of them were out of the SEC. 9 have advanced on here to this super regional round. And one of the things that Tim Walton said after last weekend is like, hey, like each game, each weekend prepares you for postseason runs and tournaments like this, right? Just because of the gauntlet, the Iditarod, whatever you want to call it, the grind that is the SEC. It helps ready you for those moments so that you have plenty of opportunities to step up. As Lindy Ray Davis hits it over to Mia Williams, who falls to her knees, and the throw off the mark, and Lindy Ray Davis is safe.
I will be shocked if this is not ruled an error at second base for Mia Williams. This is what looks to be a routine rollover ground ball, and I'm not sure if this was a trip of the shoelaces, a sliding on the dirt. I thought for a moment she'd recover, but the throw being wide and Reagan Walsh not having a play off that throw at first. That is going to be an error for Mia Williams at second base.
So the first batter aboard in the inning for the Bulldogs. Pinch runner Molly Mitchell, the freshman at first base. First pitch swinging, and that's Tyler Ellison. Ellison lifts this one into right and is retired. You mentioned the relationship that these two coaches have. We'll get a chance to talk some strategy with Tony Baldwin after the break. Let's see if his group can put something on the board and maybe string something together here, as Keegan Rothrock has held this team hitless thus far. Just the second base runner we've seen after that hit by pitch by Digby back in the second, and then the error at second to put Davis aboard. Jaden Goodwin swings at this one. Back in right field at the fence was Taylor Shoemaker, and a double play is made. Shoemaker was all the way at the fence, and hanging in the middle was Mitchell.
This is why base running is so important. This double play just took Georgia out of what could have been a huge inning. What a throw from Taylor Shoemaker. Double play to end it all the way from the warning track, Tiff.
Welcome back here to Gainesville, bottom four, and Georgia head coach Tony Baldwin with us now. And coach, we have seen this Bulldog offense throughout the season find ways to produce, but so far still searching for the first hit. What's got to happen different for your batters?
You know, you just got to keep playing. It would be the obvious thing is we need hits, right? But the truth of the matter is we're competing, we're having good at-bats, we're collecting a lot of data. If this were a 4-inning game, we'd be in trouble, but it's a whole weekend of softball that we've got to just keep competing, and the whole message for the postseason has been relentless competitiveness. And, you know, I like where we are. It was a tough start. That's not the way Randy wanted to start it off, but she settled in and thrown the ball well, and I feel like we're having competitive at-bats, and, you know, Shorty just missed getting that one out of here, and it had been a different game.
Coach, I think the numbers tell the story as to why you go with the lefty in the circle. If you were to ask for one adjustment from rolling, what would it be right now?
Yeah, when she's getting them to swing, you know, and having leverage in the count, they're having a hard time with her. And, you know, she just was too behind in the count there early in that first inning, and too many free bases and walks and home runs you can't really defend. But I think her stuff is good, and it's still a good matchup. And, you know, at the end of the day, she's got us right where we need to be, and we got the game right where we want it, with an opportunity to still come back and win this thing.
All right, thanks, Coach. We appreciate the time.
Yep, go Dogs.
This Bulldog team full of positivity and very much to what Coach Baldwin said, in striking distance, and rolling has really found a way to get these batters out for the Gators outside of that 3-run homer, a couple of base hits last inning, but she's done an excellent job, much like he saw her do last weekend in the regionals. And this one off the bat of Riley Hotorf in left field foul territory. That's Jaden Goodwin for out number one.
Well, and I agree with his breakdown. I think the first inning probably a little bit of a smudge for rolling and trying to establish that strike zone early, but since taking that one punch, it was a big one. It was a 3-run punch, but since then, she's really settled in. I think that she's thrown together some really good pitch sequences, has collected 4 strikeouts against a very tough offense. One of the things that Tony Baldwin mentioned to us is the need for the defense to really be strong around these arms as well. And they're going to get tested this weekend. This is a team that puts the ball in play and hard.
And two, echoing the sentiments of their coach. I mean, and just talking with Dallas Goodnight and Jaden Goodwin yesterday, they were like, hey, look, no game is over until it's over, right? And so the way that they have battled all throughout games this year, as a nice job by the defense with Tyler Ellison, the flip over to Castori for 2 away. This group is always in it.
Yeah.
I mean, they are never out of a game.
Well, a big one, I think, is keeping Kendra Falby off the base paths now 3 separate times. She's a spark starter, in my opinion. You find her on base, and you just know something is going to happen offensively for this team, and the fact that they've quieted her bat, it's a big deal.
Shoemaker back at the plate. A couple of walks so far in this game. Going inside for ball 2. Ball 3, and was maybe the intentionality as we've watched Taylor Shoemaker see a lot of balls thrown her way and not a lot of appetizing pitches in the terms of strikes. Is that kind of the strategy or thought here? Is do you just try to keep it away from her as much as possible?
Well, I think, too, between Shoemaker and Jocelyn Erickson and then Reagan Walsh in the hole, those 3 bats, I'm going to be playing very conservative around the strike zone. If I'm missing wide. I'm not going to give anything over the plate to any 3 of these bats, but here's the danger. You don't pitch to Shoemaker, now all of a sudden you got to face Jocelyn Erickson. You pitch around Jocelyn Erickson, who has taken more walks this season, and we asked her about that. You're not seeing as many pitches over the strike zone. She said, look, I have had to really become more patient this year, take what's being awarded, and shrink down my ability to chase out of the zone.
Hot shot over to Castori at first base, and it hit her glove, but Castori couldn't hang on. And now 2 aboard and 2 out here for the Gators, bottom 4.
We mentioned it, the rally cry from Tony Baldwin for his pitching staff, and really from this entire team, was that defense had to catch and throw balls behind their arms. This is a play that's got to be made.
Ruled a single. And now Reagan Walsh in a similar position and she had back in the first inning this time. Pops it up in shallow left center, and that's going to be it for the Gators. 2 left on, still 3-0 Florida. Albert just chilling out, catching some rays in the sun, kicking his feet up as his Gators have a 3-0 lead over Georgia.
I hope Albert has a fan and some water because it is just now reaching 90 degrees in Gainesville. It's heating up here, too, in the booth.
Yeah. My question is, where is Alberta?
Yeah.
His better half.
Come on.
Right? These are the questions we need answers
to. The hard
to.
hitters.
The hard hitters, for sure. Sarah Gordon, Emily Digby, Marissa Miller due up here as Otis retires Gordon. I heard the studio talking about Aaliyah Benford's home run to put Ole Miss up over Arkansas. We got a chance to call that Ole Miss Georgia series one of the last 2 weekends of the regular season. This Georgia group, who has fought throughout, when Tony Baldwin talked about the way this group has tried to throw punches back, they've been in series. They've come down to the final at-bats. I mean, they've been
final
right there,
outs.
final
Yeah.
outs, right? Knocking on the door. But this team finds a way
Well,
to come through, too.
I think the part that really sticks out statistically, and Tony Baldwin chatted with us about it, is there was 6 different times through SEC play where it came down to that game 3 in a series, came down to the last inning, and they were 0 for 6. The challenge that he had for this team is to stay locked in for the full duration of the matchup. Full game, full weekend, full at bat. We cannot cruise control. We have to stay locked in. And again, if history proves correct, this is a squad that figures out a way to lock in on this stage.
Rothrock and Erickson have a quick chat. Meanwhile, we want you, the viewer, to stay locked in all day here on ESPN2. We've got plenty of postseason softball continuing to come your way. Supers gets started at 1 Eastern in Columbia, South Carolina. UCLA Bruins traveling to South Kakalaki. Texas Tech a chance to close out Florida State, and then Alabama, Oklahoma at 5 Eastern, and then there's so much more. It's quite the appetizing lineup of softball, wouldn't you say?
You think Nige Kennedy gets the start again for the second day in a row?
Ooh, that's a great question, and I'm going to say yes.
I'm going to say yes, too.
I'm going to say yes.
I know Amanda and Kevin were debating that last night. Amanda also a believer that Nyjah probably gets the ball in game 2 as well. I'd be giving it to my $1 Million Eye.
How about Keegan Rothrock fooling Digby there, commits on the swing, and the strikeout.
This is the 5th strikeout for Keegan Rothrock. I mean, what we have seen her do through now 4 full innings, it's been the rise ball, it's been the curve ball, we've seen flashes of the changeup. It just completely in control this game.
First pitch swinging off the glove of Rothrock, and Holtorf with a nice play from her shortstop position. 3 up, 3 down. Gators coming up to bat in the bottom half of the 5th when you return. Folks, just to catch you up on the action, it was Reagan Walsh's 3-run homer back in the 1st, the only runs of the game. Meanwhile, Keegan Rothrock has been outstanding thus far, holding the Georgia bats hitless, her longest hitless streak in NCAA tournament history.
We mentioned the home run, Tiffany. Reagan Walsh, she's standing in now. And that ball was a no-doubter. This is a bat that has continued to develop. Mia Williams now in the circle. Reagan Walsh was that home run, the 3-run shot back in the 1st.
So it's Williams, Brown, Otis due up. Both Brown and Otis had back-to-back singles in the 3rd. But hits overall, pretty tough to come by. I don't know if they're going to try to, she just lost her in her throwing motion. I think I was hearing like a balk or something, and I was like, no, not quite.
Not quite.
No, it's not baseball. And the walk to Mia Williams to lead it off here. I want to go back to this interesting discussion, too, that we were having before the break regarding Texas Tech and the arm they have in the circle with Nyjah Kennedy. Is she going to go again? Is she not against Florida State? They've got a chance to close out the Seminoles. She had an outstanding performance last night. But we've also been wrong about who's going to get the start. Because last weekend in Knoxville, you have Carlin Pickens, one of the best pitchers in the country. Karen Weekly opts to go with Sage Marjeko to try to close out Ohio State.
Phenomenal.
It was absolutely phenomenal as Ava Brown, oh baby, straightaway center, 2-run homer. 7 home runs in the last now 11 games for Ava Brown. Clear the way.
That's her 11th home run of the year, and again, 7 of those coming in the last 11 games. You want to get hot at the right time. You hear that all over the nation, peak at the right time. Well, if there is someone in this Florida lineup that has taken that to heart, it is Ava Brown in the 6th hole. My goodness, deepest part of the field.
She knew it as soon as it left the bat. So all 5 Gator runs have come by way of long balls.
It's been the free passes, though, Tiffany, that have come before those shots. It is a matter of time before Florida leaves the yard. The goal to limit that damage is to not give up free passes, and that has been the Achilles heel for Georgia all year long.
6 walks in this game for Rolling, and to your point, Aaron, we came on air talking about they're one of the top 20 teams in the country in terms of walks allowed. They had 219 coming in, and they ate half a dozen to that so far in this game.
I mean, we've covered Georgia earlier this year. You mentioned at the Ole Miss series, we covered game 1. Now, I hope you're listening to these numbers. There was 22 walks that game and 32 runs scored. That was almost a 4-hour game.
And this one well hit in the center field. Good night is there in the first out of the inning. Otis is retired. A long game indeed, you are correct.
But, you know, Tony Baldwin actually recalled that weekend because we talked about it. Eye-popping numbers, a lot of free passes giving up. But he said it was actually that weekend that we turned a corner. Chelsea Wilkinson, pitching coach here at Georgia, worked a lot with their arms, worked some different rhythm, flow in the circle so that they could feel a little bit more in control.
Here's the freshman Layla Lamar out of Cary, North Carolina, daughter of Duke head coach Marissa Young. And Lamar coming in a pinch hitting situation. Four hits on the season, just her 18th at bat of the 2025 campaign. Lamar, who's just grown up around the game of softball. Dad was heavily involved in it as well, James Lamar. And certainly been challenged with a lot personally with the illness of her father. But just a terrific family. And terrific people, right?
It's such a great piece. Amanda Scarborough going down to Duke, doing a special on this family and just the journey that they've taken. The resiliency, the heart, the love that this family has for each other and through sport.
Full count now to the pinch hitter, Layla Lamar. This one hits her, so a free pass there. Second hit by a pitch today for Rolling, and you can't give up any additional opportunities to this Florida offense because they can already hurt you in so many different ways. You see 6th best in home runs. They hit 2 this season, or rather 2 in this game, 95 stolen bases. And the combination of power and speed has been so impressive. Well, after that last hit by pitch from Randy Rolling, Tony Baldwin opts to make a change in the circle. They're going to go with Rachel Gibson. We'll tell you more about her when we return here to Gainesville. You see her numbers on the season. She had 1 inning last weekend in Durham. She comes in relief for Randy Rolling, who started off this game in 4 1/3 innings. Gave up 5 hits, Those 5 earned runs coming off of 2 homers from Gators bats. So Riley Holtorf, the shortstop now. 1 ball and 1 strike. That one in there for ball 2.
That's the off-speed pitch out of the hand of Gibson. I'll tell you, don't be shocked if you see 6 back-to-back changeups. That is what she is known to do.
Little dead man's land there, but Rachel Gibson able to make the play in time at first to retire Holtorf.
We'll mention the need when Rolling was in the circle to use more of that off-speed curveball. She struggled to spot it. Well, now an arm in the circle that is known for changing speeds, is fearless with the changeup, and I think we'll have to force Florida to make an adjustment on it, to have a game plan for that change of speeds.
Speaking of changing balls there in the circle, as Rachel Gibson requesting a new set.
You know, some arms, some pitchers can be picky about the feel of a ball. If I had the ball in my hand every single play, I would probably be a little picky too.
But you also said you didn't want to ever be a pitcher.
No,
because
I could not.
Of why?
You know, I think it just is a tough position to play. You're involved in every single play of the entire game as long as you're on the rubber. I give so much respect and have so much reverence for pitchers that are able to do it at this level. It takes a lot of mental fortitude. You got to be a steel trap between the ears to play that position.
This time facing Kendra Falby is Rachel Gibson. She's behind the count. 2 balls and no strikes. And you mentioned earlier just the way this Georgia defense has played Falby thus far today.
Well, we've seen the pinch of the infield. You can see they're playing inside the base paths.
And Falby decides to swing away at this one off the wall in right center. And Falby, her first base hit of this Super Regional weekend, and drives in her 34th run of the season.
I mean, she was hitless all day. 2 lineouts, a ground out to second base. Falby just salivating at an opportunity to barrel up a ball. This is a senior that has blossomed in her last year in this Gator jersey. I mean, that felt like a ticking time bomb for Kendra Falby.
And now you've got Taylor Shoemaker, one of the top 3 freshmen in the country. NCAA Freshman of the Year finalist. Three walks on the afternoon for Shoemaker, the top RBI producer for the Gators and one of the top in the country. Taking all the way, that's in there for a strike.
Leads this team in home runs, 21 on the year. Leads this team in RBIs.
Now full count, she had 7 ribbies last weekend in that regional round, and their 3 run rule victories here at home.
Bertim Walton, I mean, this is a young bat that reminds him a lot, especially in just terms of habits, of Amanda Lorenz, one of the best left-handed swingers to come through this university. Loves to hit, doesn't necessarily have a plan, but just swings hard. Hunts pitches, and right there, hunts her 4th walk of the day.
And the Gator dugout getting revved up once more. Talk about Amanda Lorenz, one of the best to do it in a Gator uniform. She won that Freshman of the Year back in 2016. Shoemaker, could she follow in her footsteps? With Gibson in a little trouble. 2 on, 2 out for Jocelyn Erickson, who singled her last time up. Her offensive numbers were staggering last year. This year, you said she's had to be a lot more patient. She's seen a lot more pitches thrown for balls. She's walked a number of times throughout the season. But when you mention the name Jocelyn Erickson, Tim Walton immediately says, oh yeah, she's got that it factor.
Well, we asked about the consistency. I mean, what has allowed you to step into patience? What has allowed you to take the free bases, to consistently put up these types of numbers? And she gave us, I think, some unexpected answers, some answers that I really connected with. She journals more this year. She's focusing on breathing more in games, calming down her mind, her eyes, her body. I mean, really zeroing in on where her feet are.
This one into the outfield. And that ends the threat from the Gators, but they're able to tack on some more insurance here. They're up 6-0. To look dominant here in this opening game of Super Regionals. And you don't want to put the announcer jinx on, but when you think about how many Ks that she's registered on the day with 5 and how long she's held off this Georgia lineup, as this one off the wall and left, the first hit right there off the bat of Emma Castori. And Castori breaks up the no-no. I was really trying hard in the effort to not have the announcer jinx right there, but credit Emma Castori. I did.
Hey, it's us doing our job, right?
Yes.
We got to call what we're seeing. Rothrock doing an incredible job now through 5 innings. The second inning was the only time she had faced more than 3 batters. It had been 3 up, 3 down all game, and it has been. Castori breaking that trend. First hit of the game for Georgia.
Well, Williams towers this one foul down the left field line. And Georgia has some work to do. It's cut out for them, sure, down by 6 runs and only 6 outs remaining for the Bulldogs.
They're calling us out.
Williams fouls that one off. Williams out of great state of Hawaii, 50th state. The 1-2 from Rothrock. And Williams swinging away. The youngest of 8 children also participated in paddling in Hawaii. I mean, you've got to take advantage of that beautiful Pacific Ocean when you're out there at home. The 1-2 was bounced across from Rothrock.
The upper body strength that would require. The mind-body connection, how that's translated for her now on the softball field.
Inside, caught, looking frozen. And Rothrock does it here. 6th K of the game.
And just so well placed. That is an elite screwball challenging under the hands of Mua Williams. Catches are looking. The way she tunnels that pitch too, Tiffany, I mean, that to a batter looks like it's going to be up and out of the zone. It's the same spin, it's the same release of the rise ball that can come up over the letters for a ball, and the fact that she tunnels that pitch right under the hands of Williams. And Rothrock is just so good at that.
Swing and a miss there. They try to get the snap throw to second base. And Castori slides back safely. The 0-2 from Rothrock. And one of the things that, she revealed to us yesterday was the fact that during that time, she was out with injury, missed nearly a month. She said, I couldn't pick up a softball.
Yeah.
And so what that time taught me was how to become mentally tougher, how to be stronger in situations, trying to close out good night as she's able to get it off a couple of gloves from the Gators defenders and is aboard safely now with a single. Runners at the corners and no outs here for Georgia.
2 hits now given up here in the 6th inning. Georgia has needed something in the way of momentum, some spark to brew offensively for this Bulldog team. We've mentioned the speed of Goodnight now working her way on. I'd be shocked not to see her wheels in motion with 35 stolen bases on the year.
Here's Lindy Ray Davis, who we mentioned earlier was clutch in the regional round. Had a couple of game-tying base hits. Produced a handful of RBI over the weekend. And when you're looking at how this group has found a way to pass the bat, Dallas Goodnight told us, look, you don't have to be perfect. Don't worry about your individual performance. What we can do collectively together as a team is what matters most. And now this is an opportunity for the Bulldogs to potentially deliver here their first runs of the game.
Again, before the NCAA rule was changed, Lindy Ray Davis, an early commit during that 8th grade year, has been now at Georgia a loyal Bulldog through COVID, through changes of this staff, changes of this roster, updates with the new stadium. I mean, there really has been nothing that Lindy Ray Davis and Tony Baldwin haven't weathered together. So much loyalty for this young woman.
And the Calhoun, Georgia native is seeing a number of Gators give chase, and Cahalan tried to get that one, falls to the ground and avoids Corby Otis in the process. That could have been dangerous.
I mean, you have to tip your cap at the effort here. You'd love for Corby Otis to potentially have this play, her momentum and her diving effort moving through that ball as opposed to back into it, but just a tough play to make.
The 3-2 to Davis. Just gets a piece of that one.
Yeah, Davis just waving at that pitch, trying to give herself another shot to stand in.
Does she go around? No, they say she's safe, and then the throw to first base scores Castori.
Well, let's see here. I mean, it's his From that look, Tiffany, without a doubt, a swing through, but now we have a change in tune. Brian Crochet, originally on that pitch, had pointed down to third base. Joe Harverhill, which gave the safe call on the attempt. After Lindy Ray Davis runs to first base, then you see the home plate umpire, Brian Crochet, change his call. I mean, that is a clear break of the plane with the barrel.
If it was indeed a walk, then Castori, who was at third, would need to return. No,
the throw down.
The throw down to first.
Still an errant throw. It was a live ball. The walk, again, would be awarded, and it is. Lindy Ray Davis standing at first base. Again, I think the part that's confusing to me is we saw Brian Crochet behind the home plate. What I had appeared after the throw to first was attempting to change the call, pointing down to first and wanting to call Lindy Ray Davis out.
Right.
Well, that's no longer the case.
Joe Haverhill at third initially made the signal of safe. And upon that, the throw down to first was errant, and that's how Castori scored.
A lot to break down there, Tiff. Ultimately, though, Georgia, with its first run up on the board, less than 2 outs, a big momentum opportunity here for the Bulldogs.
One out for Tyler Ellison, who's flied out to right a couple times already against Rothrock.
And a tough break there for Rothrock, who hadn't had a walk all game. Ends up giving that walk then to Lindy Ray Davis on what looks like, per our vantage point and replay, should have been a strikeout.
So the first run given up for Rothrock on that walk and error. Ellison fouls it away again.
Yeah, looking at my list of the plays that can be reviewable, the pitched balls at the plate, a swing attempt not being listed as one of those that can be reviewed.
And now back-to-back walks here from Rothrock to load the bases. And Jaden Goodwin, who they call Shorty, is coming up to bat. And could bring the Bulldogs even closer. And you're talking about those reviewable plays. Each coach has 2 apiece. And among them, you will not see that swing. So great clarification there. But more importantly, this is a moment for the Georgia Bulldogs, who have been held scoreless through 5 innings. Breaking through on the scoreboard, off an error, back-to-back walks, bases loaded. Jaden Goodwin, who had that fly out to right, which resulted in a double play. She is a batter that you want at the plate if you're Georgia. Commits there and goes down swinging. Huge strikeout there for Keegan Rothrock.
You know, growing up, Goodwin, having played competitive ball, faced Rothrock in the PGF Championship. These two have faced each other. Rothrock knowing exactly where to go against Goodwin.
History abounds all over the field, whether it's former teammates, now playing on opposing sides, or facing off in travel ball, coaches, having worked together before, and of course, Georgia playing spoiler the last two super regionals they faced off against the Gators here in Gainesville.
Well, Sarah Gordon returning to some roots, made some swing changes this year. Wanted to go back to some of her natural movement patterns after stepping in to play college softball.
Gordon lifts this one high into left, and that ends the threat for the Georgia Bulldogs. They leave the bases loaded, push a run across, but Florida still holding on to that 5-run lead. Here in Gainesville, Destin Howard now in the circle, the right-hander out of Macon, Georgia, who has had limited innings this season. They're trying to change things up and also kind of preview what may be needed this weekend here against the Gators.
A lot more speed out of this arm, mid-70s. Have yet to see Lily Backus in the circle. Senior leader for this staff, majority of the innings on the year.
And anticipate she will get the start tomorrow in game 2. Reagan Walsh, who got the scoring party started for the Gators back in the first. Long ball, drove in 3. And then the Gators added 3 more last inning.
There's some very rowdy Florida fans near our field mics, which I'm just loving eavesdropping on the conversation in the stands.
They're rowdy reptiles. This one playable in foul territory, and the diving grab from Emily Digby all the way from her shortstop position to make the sliding grab.
That is the third fly out to shortstop, although this was not collected at the position of shortstop. This is up the left field line, and the diving effort from Emily Digby, my goodness, show some range off, chick. Wow.
Here's Mia Williams now at the plate. And Digby, a player you talked about on defense that's going to have to step up among the rest of the Bulldogs. Tony Baldwin says she's like tonic water.
She goes with everything, baby. Forgot about that. The nickname for Emily Digby. You're just right, partner. Tonic water was it.
I'm telling you, the nickname game has to be
There's an art
strong
form.
and on point. Yes, it is.
You got one for me.
Yeah, groove theory.
Groove theory.
Yeah, that's right. Intersection of
That's it.
music
and movement. That's all. I love it. Good one, another one with a nickname, Shorty.
And those passionate fans you were just talking about, you could hear a little bit right there. After that pitch, 2-1, and now it's 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Another one of those nicknames Tim Walton had for Tony Baldwin, the Room Dog. That's my Room Dog. The Roomies on their travels together at the national women team level. Traveled the world together. France, Chile.
But it was Birmingham.
It was Birmingham where they were
bonded.
roomies.
Yeah. In an old school dorm.
That's it.
All right.
He said it was a race to the finish line of who could get to sleep first. Both of us snoring in the room together.
On the 3-2 pitch, Mia Williams drives it into left, and she's retired. There's Shorty. You say Shorty or Shouty? Because in Georgia, you gotta say S-H-A-W-T-Y.
Well, per Tony Baldwin, he says, Shorty's my girl. Shorty's my girl.
Ava Brown, who hit one deep to center her last time up. Two-run homer from Ava Brown, who continues her hot hitting throughout last weekend and to now. Sophomore out of Montgomery, Texas, sends this one flying, and Dallas Goodnight is there. That ends the inning, and so now the Georgia Bulldogs down to their final 3 outs. Good times continue to roll for the Gators here in Gainesville. A 6-1 lead for the 3 seed as Georgia down to their final outs. Emily Digby, Marissa Miller, and Emma Castori due up for the Bulldogs. And Keegan Rothrock, who has been sensational in this game, had not given up a hit until that last inning. And the lone run allowed by the sophomore. Remember, this was the arm that powered the Gators to that Women's College World Series run a season ago. And she wants to keep on dealing for hopes and another opportunity at what would be the 13th Women's College World Series for the Gators if they're able to come out victorious this weekend. Third straight super here for Georgia. Emily Digby draws the walk to lead it off here. Top 7.
I mean, what was no walks through 5 innings, gives up 2 free bags in the 6th, and now a leadoff walk.
We're going to see a pinch hitter come in for the Bulldogs as Tony Baldwin calling on Hannah Davila to come in that pinch hitting role, and we're going to see a pinch runner as well over at first base for the Dogs as well. So Hannah Davila, the sophomore out of Flossmoor, Illinois, a player who has really gained a greater respect from her teammates, and talking with Goodnight and Shorty. And I say, hey, look, the pinch hitting role is among the hardest that you'll have in the game of softball. And Davila has done it well throughout the season.
Well, we talked about this role, coming off the bench, having to be plugged in and engaged in this game, to know what you're going to see out of the hand of Rothrock, to have a plan in the box, to keep the body warm, to just understand the touch, the feel of what's developed through 6 innings. It is a tough call to come off that bench, to step in for the first time, and to take advantage of an opportunity.
Our first career double coming in that leadoff spot last weekend against Duke in that decisive Game 7. Scoring the tying run to force extras against the Blue Devils, as we're seeing time in the circle, and the trainer athletic trainer coming out to provide some new tape on
blister.
the finger of Keegan Rothrock. That's okay. She said just roll it up as tight as you need to.
Another reason I could never be a pitcher is just the constant work on those fingertips. It is hot, ladies and gentlemen. We are over 90 degrees in Gainesville. You got sweat, you got blisters, the cracked ends of the fingers. I mean, what you have to do as a pitcher to move the ball. So much mental toughness of all pitchers, but specifically Rothrock through injury. Now trying to slam the door shut with a 5-run lead.
Davila kind of check swing there and interference there. An obstruction called as Paisley Allen, the pinch runner, collides with the second baseman, Mia Williams, and Tony Baldwin immediately coming out to have this discussion with Steve Gold.
Yeah, just reading some body language, reading some lips here. I think Tony Baldwin making the case or having the discussion of whether Mia Williams at second base actually seeking out the runner, almost a push of the hands. We'll get a good look at it here.
Georgia is challenging the interference call going to second base.
You know, I mean, that look does appear that Mia Williams has some extended arms to make contact. But a caveat there, that was not an out-of-bounds approach to that ground ball. I mean, Mia Williams taking a direct line of approach to field that ball. Again, rule on the field is that runner cannot make contact with the fielder, or that runner is interfering with the play. Looks like this is going to be under review.
The question is, because the fielder or runner could be called for obstruction, who initiates the contact?
Right. I mean, it is apparent in that look that Mia Williams does have some extended arms to make contact with that runner, but her line to the ball, it's a straight line. Yeah, if the fielder is at fault, this would result in a warning to Mia Williams. The runner would return to the base.
You knew as soon as it happened, Tony Baldwin was going to spin one of his two challenges to review this, and so they're taking a look at it as they're reviewing it up in Pittsburgh as well.
Well, you got to know, if you're Allen, pinch runner coming in, I mean, she never pulled her eyes up to see where that ball was hit. You've got to make an attempt to get out of the way of that play. I mean, there was just no hold up.
After review, the call has been upheld. It is interference. Georgia has been challenged first.
So Tony Baldwin, you see his reaction to the call being upheld. Another look at it here.
Yeah, the eyes of Allen, I mean, never pulled up the helmet to see where that ball was, where it was headed. Had all the opportunity in the world to put on the brakes and get outside of that contact.
So one out, one on. As that one caught in foul territory for Reagan Walsh. And Walsh retires Castori. 1 out remaining.
Off the end of the bat of Castori. Just out in front, an off-speed pitch from Rothrock. What a game from this sophomore arm, Tiffany. You asked the efficiency question to Tim Walton back in the 4th. He mentioned the getting ahead, establishing the strike zone early. That's exactly what Keegan Rothrock has done here in game 1. Fans on their feet. I mean, you can just feel the momentum right now here for Florida.
It was a combination of Walsh, who helped set the tone offensively for the Gators, and Rothrock at the job that she's done in the circle now. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Georgia down to their final strike and out of this game. And it's been Rothrock and using all of that postseason experience that she gained from a season ago and helping to deliver for her team in the circle. That ends the ball game, a 6-1 decision, and the Gators take game 1 of this super regional round.